back to Hydration Hotline. I'm your host, Annette, here to answer your questions with our very own Senior Director of Scientific Affairs, Dana Ryan, our resident expert in all things hydration, science, and energy.
Let's get after it.
In the last episode, we heard about some of the not so nice side effects when it came to caffeine, like dehydration and jitters. This week, we're answering your questions about how to get more balanced ways of energy into your life. That sounds like our first caller. Okay. So our first caller is at Archived Bree. She's asking, what else should we be consuming with caffeine for a better balance, i.e. dehydration?
Well, at Archived Bree, that's a great question. It takes us a little bit back to episode 1 where we talked about how there's a lot of individual differences when it comes to caffeine, but there's certain things that you can do to help yourself out when you're consuming caffeine. First and foremost, be hydrated. But I know we're all Liquid I.V fans, so we've been hydrated throughout the day, but those electrolytes are really, really important. Also, make sure you're not consuming caffeine on an empty stomach, because this can lead to side effects that we don't necessarily want.
And that's why having your emotional support water bottle is very important.
Yes.
And I'm sure having a little bit of Liquid I.V on the side doesn't hurt either.
It doesn't.
And when it comes to dehydration, are there any signs that we should be keeping an eye out for?
Sure, so some simple things: nausea, fatigue, headaches, irritability. A lot of times we might experience those things and don't always associate them with being dehydrated, but if you experience them, it could actually be as simple as needing to be hydrated. Because the thing that's interesting about dehydration is the one thing people often look for is they wait and say, okay, I'm thirsty, now I'll drink something. But the reality is by the time you're thirsty, you're actually already dehydrated. So really important, keep that water bottle nearby. It's a really great visual reminder to drink.
The hotline is hot today.
Sounds like it.
We got a lot. So the first one is, at Liz Rio Sale is asking, how does caffeine affect hydration and sleep quality? Then we have at Really Far Away 6 asking, what time is too late in the day to have caffeine if you want to sleep at night? And our third is X Serini asking, is there a healthy limit for caffeine in a day without it messing up my sleep?
Love that people are thinking about this, because I think a lot of times we get towards the end of the day and we think like, oh, I'm struggling, like I just need a little caffeine to keep me going, without realizing that that can then impact our sleep later in the day, which then makes the next day more challenging, and you can see how that cycle continues, right? So thinking about when we consume caffeine throughout the day is actually really important. So my personal general rule of thumb is around 2 p.m. is when I would say kind of stop caffeine. Again, individual differences. Some people can have caffeine at 5 p.m., totally fine. But I would say for the average person, it's around 2 p.m. And again, we chatted about this a little bit last time, but no more than 200 milligrams of caffeine in one sitting.
Yeah, and we don't want to sound like a broken record, but truly everyone's bodies are so different. You are reacting differently. You're going to sleep at different times. So with that in mind, Dana, are you an early bird or a night owl?
Well, the older I get, definitely an early bird. You will not catch me awake past 10 p.m.
You know,
these
that's
days.
what people keep saying to me, but I am a certified night owl.
After you're 40, let's have a chat.
Okay. Sounds like we have another caller. Yeah, we can get to that. All right, so we have another question from X Serini asking, is there a thing such as too much caffeine in one day?
Yes. So again, when we think about caffeine, like you said, we're not going to be a broken record. Pay attention to your body. Super important that you're listening to what your body's telling you. For some people, 100 milligrams of caffeine, that may be enough, right? When we're thinking about professional athletes or even collegiate athletes, did you know they actually get tested for caffeine levels? So if they're taking a product that's certified for a sport, it can't exceed 200 milligrams of caffeine in one product. So those are just kind of general rules of thumb, and then up to 400 milligrams per day. But again, paying attention to what time of day you're consuming that at. So 400 milligrams throughout the middle part of your day is very different than just chugging 400 milligrams at night before you try and sleep.
So roughly how many cups of coffee are equivalent to 400 milligrams?
It's going to depend on the strength of the coffee, but usually we're looking at about 80 to 100 milligrams of caffeine per cup of coffee.
And then how much caffeine is in our Liquid I.V Energy Multiplier Sugar-Free?
100 milligrams of natural caffeine.
Natural. Well, Dana, can you think of any brand that takes into account hydration when it comes to formulating their energy products?
I mean, there certainly aren't many, but let's be honest, it's really not a tough question.
I mean, if only we knew of one. Stay tuned.